How many times you've heard that we need migrants because without migrants, there's going to be no NHS. We need doctors and nurses and engineers. They're using the same playbook in Australia too and trying to gaslight the Australian public with similar arguments. Have a listen to this.
My message to One Nation voters is, who's going to feed you and bathe you and wipe your bum when you're 90? Right? Because it ain't going to be your kids. Because if I get my way, they're going to be working on submarines.
Wow. Wow. Incredibly racist. But you know why they're doing that. So first they create this narrative that we need migrants. White people or the natives don't want to do certain jobs, which actually creates a negative feedback loop because then they bring in third world, low skilled, low wages people who can, like 10 of them can live in a house. Obviously, a native person can't do that because he has a certain lifestyle to maintain. So he can't work on £10 or £7 an hour. In Australia, you know, so they come in, you import a lot of people, they get into this underground economy where they're doing these cash in hand jobs at a much lower price. So, and then the natives can't keep up with it because an Aussie is going to charge you $50 an hour. Well, fairly decent. If you want to have an Aussie gardener or an Aussie plumber or a handyman, you need $50 to $100 an hour because, you know, he has a mortgage. But then you bring in someone from a third world country, he can do it for $20 an hour or even less. So that drives the natives out of business. And then they say, aha, see, white people don't want to do these jobs, so we need to bring in more people. So that's what they've been doing in the UK. But guess what? You already obviously know this, but why am I telling you this? Because it's not just the doctors and the engineers it's not just doctors and nurses, okay? Have a look at this. Look what just happened. More than 150 kebab shops given Home Office licenses to hire migrants from overseas. So now, if you can make a kebab, right, then that's a skill that the British government is in need of. A total of 159 kebab shops across Britain have been granted Home Office licenses, allowing them to sponsor overseas workers under the Skilled Worker Visa Scheme. The figures have sparked criticism from senior Conservatives and migration campaigners who argue the system is being stretched far beyond its original purpose, which was to bring in doctors and engineers. And what happens in those kebab shops? I don't need to tell you that, do I? Well, maybe I do, because look, a couple of months ago, the BBC made a video about that, and I was actually shocked. I actually made a video. I was like, what? The BBC's now growing a conscience, or they're trying to regain some of the lost ground? Have a listen.
A machete on display in broad daylight.
I just gone and shot with samurai swords and that.
You're watching extreme violence on our high streets. This was a daytime brawl.
You got a crowbar?
Barbers fighting over territory.
Get it, man, get it!
To on-street beatings. This is kebab shop turf wars. For the first time, we've heard the stories of dozens of trading standards officers.
Anyway, you get the point. GB News just did a full report on this issue, so let's have a look.
Kebab shops are being issued skilled worker visas, and I went to one of those kebab shops to find out more.
Ooh.
Well, I'm in East Ham in London today, and you might have seen recent reports that there are over 150 kebab shops, vape shops, barbers that have got skilled worker visa licenses so they can sponsor people to come over here to the UK. Well, the kebab shop behind me back there has got and been issued 7 skilled worker visas for people to come and work in their kebab shop from other parts of the world. So I went to go and pay them a visit to find out what specific skills you need to come over to England, Britain, and work in a kebab shop, which could be a job for a young person in Britain. Let's find out. Hello, mate. How you doing? I'm nice to meet you. I'm Alex. How are you? I'm doing a piece on kebab shops here today. Okay. I want to know, when you're cooking kebabs, obviously today, you sell quite a lot throughout the day?
Well, that time you come to night and that time is good busy.
Are you from the UK? British?
No, me from Pakistan.
Oh, Pakistan. So did you come over here on a skilled worker visa?
Yeah.
Lots of people want to know, lots of people want to understand, This kebab shop has got 7 skilled worker visas, and it's got to pay you £40,000 a year under the law. It's good money to make. But why there's a need for skilled workers in kebab shops?
They could not find a single kebab maker in the entirety of the UK. If this had happened in the 50s, you could probably say that, hey, look, we've only got 10,000 Middle Eastern or Pakistanis in our country. They're all employed. They're working these other factories. So we need their specialist kebab maker. But you're doing that in 2026 when 10% of your population is made up of these people. They're taking the piss. That just tells you how much contempt they have for the general public.
Me no speak proper English.
Ah.
I explain you,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
So you can't speak enough English to explain the skills.
Italian.
So
Italian.
you're Italian. So do you come to the UK from Italy? And what skills? So you're on a
My
school.
mom, my father is here.
Yeah, okay. So were you hired by Kebabish to come here? Yeah. What skills
Kebabish.
do you need to come to the UK
That guy ain't Italian.
to work in a kebab shop? What skills? What special skills?
Sorry, sir.
Do you think there's young people in Britain that could do this job? It's a very special
भाई
skill.
आज जो interview बस पता नहीं है इंसान पता नहीं.
He's speaking Urdu. I can understand him. He's like, oh, don't talk to him. That's what he just said. He said, don't talk to him. He's just asking stupid questions. That's what he said.
It's a very special
भाई
skill.
आज जो interview बस पता नहीं है इंसान पता नहीं है. I don't know.
Not sure. Not sure.
He's saying, don't answer because he'll get us in trouble. He's Italian. He said, I'm Italian.
Well, look, thank you very much for talking to us. Have a really nice day. Thank you. And thank you as well, sir. Thanks for talking to me. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Well done, GB News. I mean, these guys are so clever. They actually go in, they ask genuine questions with seemingly that they're concerned and they're asking. I'd be so sarcastic. I'd be like, please, like, what the hell?
Was that interesting to watch for all of you at home? Because I thought it was quite revealing, because I can't understand, like many of you, why a kebab shop might need skilled worker visas. Is there abuse of our visa system happening in Britain?
Guys, and this is why I say, and it's not just why, it is my theory. I'm sure other people have presented this theory as well. There's a cabal of globalists running our countries. Look at this. Exactly the same thing is happening in Australia. Listen to Pauline Hanson. She explains you the skilled migrant visa program, how it works in Australia. She explains to you how the skilled migrant visa program works in Australia. Have a listen to her.
The skilled immigrants, Chris, cripes. We've had 190,000 in permanent visas come in as if they're skilled. Guess what? Only 5,000 of them were actually skilled.
190,000 skilled visas given, and only 5,000 of them are skilled migrants. And in Australia, unlike the UK, where they say, oh, the NHS will stop if we stop bringing in migrants, when they're actually bringing in kebab shop owners and kebabish and all kinds of rubbish, basically. In Australia, they're selling the narrative that, oh, because there's a massive shortage of houses in Australia, which is a typical supply and demand issue. A lot of legislation they put, there's a lot of red taping around, which is why it's not feasible for our native tradies or builders to build new houses or apartments, because they just can't recover the cost. The imbalance between people's income or what they can borrow versus the cost of building new properties is just out of whack. That's why people can't build new houses. So our government is saying, oh, if you want people to be able to buy new houses or be homeowners and live the Aussie dream, then you need to bring in skilled migrant workers who can help us build these houses, because Australia has a shortage, tradie shortage. Even if it's true, there are some other underlying issues. As I said, there are a lot of builders. I've listened to a lot of builders give their interviews, and they say, well, you know what? It's just not worth it for us. Why would we invest money and when we wouldn't be able to pay our tradies, we wouldn't be able to pay our laborers, because the cost has gone through the roof of everything. But that's the story they're telling. See their playbook? They scare you. Oh, NHS in the UK, it's a big thing. It's a free universal healthcare system. Obviously, almost 80% of British citizens would not want the NHS to suffer or go further down the drain. So they find your most sensitive part, and then they scare you with it. And that's in Australia. That's exactly what they're doing. But in Australia, obviously, they're scaring people with the housing crisis. So look at that: 200,000 people brought in, and only 5,000 of them were skilled migrants. And guess what? It gets even worse than that.
The skilled immigrants, Chris, cripes. We've had 190,000 in permanent visas come in as if they're skilled. Guess what? Only 5,000 of them were actually skilled in the construction industry. And then you go back to
but you want to cut numbers.
This last year, 23, 24. Chris,
there'll be plenty of people. There'll be plenty of people involved in.
People.
Hang on 1 second though. The issue here though is when you get into the specifics, if you're cutting back overseas students, that's going to be a huge financial setback for the university sector and some flow-on industries, of course, with accommodation and the rest of it. And also, many industries are saying they are crying out for skilled labour, and we can't afford to cut our skilled migration. So these will create issues. They're not simple policy positions.
It's funny that whenever our countries experience influx of migrants who are supposed to be skilled migrants, who are supposed to be doctors and engineers and doing other highly skilled jobs, we suddenly see more Uber drivers. We suddenly start seeing more Uber food delivery drivers. Isn't that amazing? Just a remarkable coincidence.
Chris, if you look at the students coming into the country, which Labor is going to put at 295,000 students coming into the country. A lot of these students don't even attend the universities. As soon as they get here, quite a number of them actually come out and say, no, we're going to change our course. We're going to go to a vet course now. And then they take up working. So a lot of them are using it as a backdoor to get into the country.
No doubt.
So is that a benefit to us? No, it's not. So that needs to be reined in. We've got...
It's so true. Well, let me give you a little bit of my personal story. So I came to Australia as a student when I was 19 back in 2003. I graduated in IT. Yeah, that's how typical. Never enjoyed it. Never worked a day in my life in that industry. But I knew that once I graduate, I would be able to apply for permanent residence. But there were some other people who had come into Australia doing courses like back in those days. Obviously, I don't know which courses are in demand now. As Pauline just said, that they changed their courses, whichever one she mentioned. So back in my day, it used to be cookery because Australia was in need of chefs. So a lot of people would come in. They would change their course to cookery. We had TAFE back then. And then they would finish that course in 6 months or 12 months, and then they would apply for permanent residence, and that's it. Now, of course, it was happening back then. This is 20 years ago, but everything was happening on a much smaller scale. Now, because it's been 20 years since then, 25 years since then, and we've had 20 years of this process, that's why this problem is ballooning to proportions that can't be managed anymore.
Nearly 400,000 people that have come in here, overstayed their visas, now got bridging loans, and of course they're working, making the money, sending it out of the country. So our whole mass migration, go and ask the Australian people how they feel about it. Go and ask them if they can actually own their own home. Ask them if they get rental accommodation. Go and ask the people who are on the streets in this country. I've got more of an immigration policy than what the coalition have.
Well, maybe you have, and this is my point.
So that's how bad it is. They're just... let me just show you what else happens in those kebab shops and vape shops. This is what happens. I don't know why BBC is actually reporting on this.
This is the latest grooming frontline, the corner shop.
I get scared to go into them, and if they can do it to them, they can do it to us.
These girls are talking about this place, Hexthorpe Mini Market. Child abuser Bala and Harway worked here.
There you go. Anyway, I'll make a separate video on that. So this is it, guys. The skilled visa scam. They gaslight the public. They scare you that you're going to have no houses, when in reality, you're bringing in so many of these people. Of course, that's going to cause a shortage of housing. And it's actually going to exacerbate the problem. So what they're doing, they're actually doubling down. They're saying, no, we need 400,000 skilled construction workers. So that's Labor's next plan. Can't wait for the next general election.